Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank where I climb the online VGC 15 ladder, as we're just going to jump right into it, still using the Mega Metagross team, picking it right off from where we left off yesterday. This team has been performing pretty well. The last two episodes, were the first few times I've used it, but it's been a lot of fun to use. So, if you haven't checked out the new team in the previous matches, definitely watch those. And we're just going to find an 1890 rated player from Japan as our first opponent of the day. Also, for those wondering, I'm going to have the Mega Venusaur team analysis up tomorrow morning. I finally have basically a free Sunday because normally my Sundays are taken up, so I'm going to try to record a lot of extra content tomorrow, especially since I missed a couple of days while I was out at St. Louis Regional, so you can probably expect double uploads for the upcoming days, so, stay tuned for that. But my opponent here has got a very interesting team of Blaziken, Thundurus, Lando T, Gastrodon, Amoonguss, and Bisharp. So the Blaziken's definitely the most interesting to me there because it's the Mega Evolution on my opponent's team, given that nothing else can Mega Evolve. It's interesting to see Gastrodon as well. Gastrodon not as common this year, but it was used a good amount in both VGC 2012 and 2013. It is another bulky water type that you can use. Of course, bulky waters are really essential to this format. Suicune, Rotom Wash, Jellicent, as for any of you guys that watched St. Louis Regionals, Zactro ended up using it, and it was really, really good. My Lodic, just to name a couple. So I think it's good to have a bulky water, and it's cool to see the Gastrodon here since that's not as common as other bulky waters. So let's see. Metagross here is alright. Doesn't have the best matchup, but it also doesn't have the worst. Of course, it doesn't want to take fire type attacks from the Blaziken, Sucker Punches from the Bisharp, Earth Powers from the Gastrodon, Earthquakes from Lando. So, 4 of my opponent's Pokemon can hit it for super effective, but I'm probably still going to bring it. The question is, who do I want to lead with? That really seems like the question I ask myself in every episode nowadays, but I mean, it is tough. I think Gengar here is a pretty safe lead, to be quite honest. I actually really like Gengar Hydreigon, just because Hydreigon gets so much damage output right from the start. I think I want Suicune and Metagross in the back, though it feels kind of weird leaving Terrakion out on this match, because Terrakion helps out against the Thundurus. Okay, I'm gonna bring Terrakion. No, I'm not. The reason why I'm opting not to bring Terrakion is because Suicune beats Blaziken and Landorus T so hard. Can 2-hit KO them even if they're bulky with Scald/Ice Beam, whereas Blaziken and Lando T can also, get damage off, but the thing is, Suicune is so bulky that it can take like 3 attacks from either of those Pokemon, which is why I'm going to bring it just for the matchup there. So I'm going to go with my Life Orb Hydreigon lead and my support Gengar. I've been using Gengar for a while, and I really like Hydreigon in general against the Thundurus and Blaziken lead here for my opponent. So the obvious play for my opponent is to protect with the Blaziken and just attack, or Thunder Wave Hydreigon, for example. So let's see, I mean, I really want to get rid of the Thundurus, because once Thundurus goes down, Suicune beats the Blaziken. So I think I'm actually going to aggressively double target this Thundurus with a Draco and a Sludge Bomb. I was thinking of just Draco Meteoring the Blaziken, but I don't know, I find it unlikely that it's going to attack here, but my opponent has a high rating, so he might predict the double target into Thundurus. I don't mind if he doesn't protect here, though. As Thundurus goes for the protect, does Blaziken have protect as well? Okay, it does. So I predicted the protect from Blaziken, but interesting to see protect from the Thundurus. Thundurus, most builds in VGC tend to be, more bulky, so I can't really afford to actually protect, because if you do protect, then you give up one of your support moves, but that might mean it's a more bulkier more offensive Thundurus. So that definitely threw me off key, just because the Thundurus can now continue to spread Thunder Waves, which is kind of annoying. And the thing is, now the Blaziken outspeeds my Hydreigon, which is kind of a big issue. So that was a really good protect from that Thundurus, because I was really hoping to take it out while the Blaziken couldn't do anything, but now that it got the speed boost, it outspeeds my Hydreigon, which is kind of a big deal right now. So it's probably going to go for the close combat onto Hydreigon, and Thundurus is probably going to T-Wave or T-Bolt the Gengar. What I'm actually going to do is Sludge Bomb the Blaziken, switch out into Suicune. I can't afford to lose Hydreigon this early on, just because it gets massive damage output. But I don't know, that was a nice play on my opponent's end there. I mean, not much I could have done, but I definitely did not see the protect from Thundurus coming out. So Suicune's going to come in now, let's see. Okay, so he goes for the low kick onto the Hydreigon. I said close combat earlier, I think. But Thundurus actually outspeeds Gengar. That does confirm my suspicions that it's an offensive Thundurus, because Thundurus is 111 speed. So I get a Sludge Bomb off against the Blaziken as it gets a speed boost off. But now the issue is that Blaziken can just target Gengar with an attack, and Thundurus can just T-Bolt the Suicune. So, you know, I was not anticipating fast Thundurus on my opponent's team, and it is really the most annoying thing to deal with right now. And the thing is, I'm also in T-Bolt KO range from this Thundurus, so things are not looking too hot right now. Thundurus being base 111 speed allows it to actually outspeed both my Metagross, even in Mega form, which is kind of a big deal here. So I'm trying to think of a way I could even win this at this point, but the Life Orb on Thundurus means that T-Bolt would KO Suicune, whereas most bulky Thunduruses would not KO Suicune with T-Bolt, because, you know, they don't run very much special attack investments. So I'm just trying to figure out a way I could win right now, and I don't really see one. This is really tough. I mean, okay. Like, I can't even switch out to anything safely. I was considering switching Gengar out there into the Hydreigon. Oh, wow, he goes for Rock Slide. Which is probably going to bring me down to Citrus range. So if I can somehow take a Thunderbolt from this Hydreigon, I'd still be in it. But I went for the tail end. Probably could have scalded the Blaziken. I don't know. I don't think I can take this Thunderbolt, given that it's going to be boosted by that Life Orb. But Suicune is pretty bulky, so I guess we'll see. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to take that. So, Mega Blaziken and offensive Thundurus here really doing work. I just have no answers to it, honestly. And I'm thinking, you know, how could I have beaten my opponent with my leads? And, like, my team had just had no answer to it. This is the first time I've played against an offensive Thundurus and, paired with the Mega Blaziken. Which is pretty cool, because I actually lost the Mega Blaziken Road to Ranked earlier on when I had this series. And, yeah, I mean, in those games, like, Mega Blaziken was basically supported by really fast Pokemon as well, and the thing is, once that Blaziken gets a speed boost, you know, max speed Thundurus and Blaziken in combination just really wreck things. So like, Terrakion wouldn't have helped out at all because both of his Pokemon would have outsped it. Suicune wouldn't have been good just because Thundurus had that Life Orb Thunderbolt, which is very scary as a bulky water user. Like, that's a really strong duo, one that, after playing this game, my opponent might have actually just convinced me to try it out in the future. I don't know, I'm trying to see how I can even win this at this point, and I just don't see an answer. Maybe if he... The question is, who does Blaziken target right now? I think the Protect from Metagross is kind of obvious, so what I'm going to do is Mega Evolve and at least try to knock out the Blaziken with his Zen Headbutt, but... It'd be really hard for my opponent to lose this match given how big his lead is, and because he's basically allowed a Thunder Wave here. Though, Thundurus here might actually not have Thunder Wave given that it's more offensive and it revealed Thunderbolt, so it probably has HP Ice as well. So I'm going to Protect with Hydreigon here, hoping he's expecting Metagross to Protect here. He does go for the Low Kick into Hydreigon, okay. And he does go for the T-Bolt onto the Metagross, so still in it, but... and the Paralysis on the Metagross, yeah, that's not good. Zen Headbutt at least connects with the Blaziken here, but I mean, I was thinking a way I could win here was, I mean, I don't know. My opponent was up by so much already, but like my way of winning here, it was like I'd Protect with the Metagross the following turn. The Landorus T comes out here. I'm guessing it's Scarf, so it's probably just gonna get a Scarf superpower off and KO the Metagross. Or Scarf superpower until a Hydreigon. Really not much I can do here. My opponent's got me locked up, basically. Basically, my opponent running max speed Thundurus was the key to this game. Like, I was expecting bulky Thundurus, and if it was bulky Thundurus, I feel like I could have managed a bit better, especially given that turn 1. But really nice of my opponent to have an offensive Thundurus here. I really think it was the MVP because it is able to outspeed the base 110s that my team kind of relies heavily on, like Gengar and Mega Metagross. So yeah, he's probably just going to Superpower Hydreigon and Thunderbolt Metagross. So, really not much I can do. I'm going to see if it's Scarflando. Like, there's just no way I can even see myself winning this match. My opponent goes for the T-Bolt onto Metagross. He goes for the U-turn, okay. So the way I was thinking, you know, if Metagross did not get fully paralyzed by that T-Bolt, what I could have done was Draco Meteor knocked out the Thundurus here, and then it would have been Hydreigon and Metagross against Landorus, and I think this is Gastrodon coming in. So it could have been winnable since, excuse me, the Landorus was not scarfed, but the paralysis basically sealed things up. Even if, you know, he didn't paralyze me there, I would have basically had to rely on getting flinches with, say, Iron Head or Zen Headbutt. As Draco's not even going to knock out Gastrodon there. Showing Gastrodon's bulk, it's going to have that Citrus Berry eating it up. So, yeah, I mean, just really well done opening turns from my opponent. I guess I could have Icy Wind it with Gengar, anticipating the Thunderous to be max speed, but man, that definitely caught me off guard. So I'll just Draco the Gastrodon again. And it's basically over at this rate. He goes for the Hidden Power Ice onto Hydreigon. I'm not going to be able to take that with the Life Orb. So I actually really want to try out my opponent's team right now. The Life Orb, Thunderous, Max Speed, and Mega Blaziken. It's very cool. He's going to get the Earth Power off against Metagross. That's going to knock me out. So pretty decisive win for my opponent there. And I think it's a testament to how good sometimes like straight offensive teams can be. You know, he had Thunderous, very, you know, frail Thunderous and very frail Mega Blaziken, but the thing is, like, it works out because you can just overwhelm your opponent with offense. I'm curious what the Thunderous's last move was because it didn't reveal Thunder Wave. It might have been something like Grass Knot, etc. But I think you can see why my opponent had such a high rating, you know, 1890 with the Mega Blaziken team, because I thought he supported it really well, and I do think Mega Blaziken has a lot of potential if you give it the proper support. So we're going to take a loss there as we're going to jump into the second battle of the day, but it's just really well managed by my opponent. You know, I think if I had Thunderous in that match, for example, if I led Thunderous, that's the one thing that could have made things a bit better, and I should have maybe considered that because Thunder Waving a Blaziken is really, really good, but I didn't really want to bring it because my opponent had Gastrodon, but in retrospect, I think Thunderous would have been the right call there, just because it could have taunted my opponent's Amoonguss as well. And yeah, I mean, it was a tough call to make because I don't have HP Ice on my Thunderous either, and my opponent obviously had Landorus T on his team, so I think in retrospect now, if I play a Mega Blaziken team, I'm going to want to bring Thunderous just to try to paralyze it because the speed boosts get really annoying and there's really not much way to stop it. But the second opponent of the day is going to be a 1585 rated player from Japan with a team of Kangaskhan, Talonflame, Aerodactyl, Meowstic, Sylveon, and Bisharp. So lots of priority on my opponent's team there with the Meowstic, you know, Talonflame with this ability, Kangaskhan, Bisharp. Aerodactyl here could be Mega, could also set up Tailwind. Definitely a scary team just because it looks speedy and looks like it relies on getting just quick damage off. Metagross is alright here, but it's obviously going to want to avoid Sucker Punches from Bisharp and Kangaskhan and Flare Blitzes from /Overheats from the Talonflame. So the question is, like always, who do I lead with? I like Hydreigon a lot here as a lead, actually, just because Life Orb, Hydreigon does so much damage to everything and can knock out the Meowstic in one hit. But the thing about leading Hydreigon is it loses to the Kangaskhan. So I think I'm actually going to lead with Hydreigon and Terrakion, because it forces the Kangaskhan to fake out one of the two Pokemon, meaning I can get a lot of damage off with the other. And Terrakion outright beats Kangaskhan, Bisharp, Talonflame, Aerodactyl as well. Now, this is an interesting question because Aerodactyl in normal form is a Pokemon that often wants to carry Focus Sash, whereas Bisharp is also a Pokemon that wants to carry Focus Sash, and I actually gave up Double Kick on my Terrakion for Quick Guard, because Quick Guard helps out a lot against the priority, which could actually prove crucial here given how priority-based my opponent's team is. So, I'm wondering if that's Mega Aerodactyl on my opponent's team, or normal Aerodactyl with Focus Sash, just because it's pretty rare to see an Aerodactyl without Focus Sash if it's not Mega. So I'm going to go with these two. I think I'm going to go with Metagross and Suicune as my back. Normally I would lead Gengar. I don't know, actually Gengar's not a bad lead here. But I don't know, it's just a bit too frail for my liking in this match, so I'm going to lock in and we'll see how this goes. Having Suicune is nice because, you know, physical type attackers can't one-hit KO. It can Scald, and of course, Scald has a 30% chance to burn, which is really helpful in general. And Suicune's just kind of a bulky water type that's annoying to deal with. But I'm going to go with my Hydreigon Terrakion leads here. Very reminiscent of VGC 2011, actually. As my opponent goes for the Meowstic and the Aerodactyl. Okay. So this is interesting because, I don't know, I really think that might be Mega Aerodactyl. And if it is, I'm kind of scared because I don't want to take an Ice Fang with this Hydreigon. So I'm kind of tempted to switch out into Metagross and Rock Slide. Or I could switch into Suicune. You know, I'm gonna make the safe. I'm gonna switch out and go for the Rock Slide. I really think it might be Mega Aerodactyl here. Not sure. I mean, if it's not, then it's fine because like normal Aerodactyl can't really touch Hydreigon or Terrakion. Of course, I am switching out Hydreigon, but it would make sense for my opponent to have Mega Aerodactyl here just because I anticipated Kangaskhan coming out as a lead. But I'm gonna bring in Metagross. And it is going to be Mega Aerodactyl, so I did anticipate that correctly. Annoying to deal with, especially with fast rock slides. I actually lost to it at the World Championships this past summer, and it basically was just able to get rock slides every turn. It actually goes for the Protect here, which I don't mind. I was going to Dark Pulse and rock slide there. You know, tempting plays. He goes for the Fake Out onto the Metagross. Perfect, because Metagross basically can get a substitute up now, getting a critical hit along the way, as Terrakion basically gets a free Rock Slide against the Meowstic, so that works out in my favor. With the leftovers on the Meowstic. I thought that might have been like eject button for a second, but that's alright. Especially because Aerodactyl cannot do very much in the position it's in right now. So I'm going to Mega Evolve, and the question here is, do I want to attack? Or do I want to substitute? Because I'm scared of taking a Thunder Wave from the Meowstic. Don't even know if it has Thunder Wave. Meowstic also gets access to Charm, so the most annoying thing for me to deal with right now is I have no idea what the Meowstic is actually carrying. But, you know, I could just aggressively target down the Aerodactyl, but Aerodactyl's not even a huge threat to me right now. So the play I want to make the most is Substitute and Rock Slide, and I think I'm going to go for this play. Just because hiding behind a I actually should have Quick Guarded there with my Terrakion to prevent Thunder Wave. So, blocked in a bit faster, but I guess, you know, the Rock Slide damage is also really nice because it's a 2-hit KO on a Mega Aerodactyl. And I definitely do think I've got the advantage in positioning right now, but like Quick Guard would have been a nice move to, you know, use there just to prevent any shenanigans from the Meowstic, whether it's Charm or Thunder Wave. Who knows, maybe my opponent's going to be tempted to Thunder Wave the Terrakion, and of course I'm Lumburied, so that would be ideal, but we'll see. I don't mind taking a Charm, but the thing is, if Metagross does get Charm, then it gets a substitute up. It's just not going to do very much, but we'll see. Interesting to see the Aerodactyl stay in here. I might have went for a Sky Drop or a Tailwind. He does go for the Charm, interesting, onto the Metagross. Yeah, so that's a bit scary to deal with. He's just going to launch a Rock Slide right away with the Aerodactyl. That's not going to do anything, but of course it has the flinch chance. Terrakion does flinch, and Metagross flinches as well. Which is unfortunate, but that's Pokemon for you. So I should have Quick Guarded. I mean, even if I Quick Guarded there, like, he still would have double flinched me with Rock Slide. Yeah, but, well, that makes things a bit more interesting. I don't really want to switch into Suicune right now, just cause, like, Suicune doesn't want to really take Rock Slides. So I think I'm just going to Iron Head the Aerodactyl now and Rock Slide. Though he might Protect and Charm here. He does go for the Protect. I don't know, I don't think that was a very good play on my opponent's end the last turn, but it obviously worked out in his favor. I just don't think it's a good idea to rely on, like, Rock Slide flinches this early on, and, like, had I gotten either of my attacks off, that would have been really bad for my opponent, but working out in his favor here, as both of my physical type attackers currently are at -2 attack, and I missed the Rock Slide to add insult to injury there against the Meowstic. But given that I expect him to continue to just Charm and Rock Slide, I'm just going to Iron Head the Metagross here and Quick Guard, because his Rock Slides aren't doing any damage to me anyway. So, I mean, yeah, I could have played the first turn a bit better. I mean, not the first turn, the turn where he got the Charm off against Metagross, but I mean, I ended up flinching anyway, so even if I Quick Guarded, it wouldn't have mattered. But ideally, it would have been nice to get behind a substitute while he didn't Charm me. So what I could have done was Quick Guarded 2 turns in a row and just sub both times. But I'm going to go for the Quick Guard this time to try to shut down Meowstic, because Iron Head should still be a 2-hit KO on that the Aerodactyl. He does go for the T-Wave here. So my opponent's just spamming Thunder Wave and Rock Slide this early on against a Mega Metagross and a Terrakion. He flinches my Metagross again. Oh my god. That is no fun to deal with. Slightly ridiculous. I mean, like, he can't expect to continue to attack with this Meowstic. I'm going to substitute here with Metagross and go for another Quick Guard. Since Quick Guard shuts down Meowstic, he does Protect again with Aerodactyl, so his strategy obviously right now is just to spam these attacks, but I'm not going to allow that, as I'm going to get a Quick Guard up. And at least that means Metagross will be able to finally hide behind a substitute as he does continue to spam Thunder Wave. And this is actually really good, right, because now he can't Thunder Wave my Metagross, and I don't actually have to rely on Quick Guard now, so what I could just do is Iron Head and Rock Slide. Though I kind of want to switch out Terrakion right now just because it's already at -2 attack, given the Charm. So I'm going to Iron Head. You know what? No, I'm just going to stay in and Rock Slide. He might be tempted to Thunder Wave Terrakion, and of course I have the Lumburied, so we'll see. But a very frustrating couple of opening turns, but that's the thing, you know, when you're playing against a duo like Mega Aerodactyl and Meowstic, like, Alright, you should expect them to spam moves like Charm and Thunder Wave, and I could have played a bit better. Like, I took way too much damage than I should have against an Aerodactyl that's spamming Rock Slide. But that's the thing, you know, the flinch factor is always a thing. And he does go for the Thunder Wave onto Terrakion, so I did bait that out. I just can't believe my opponent's just willing to stay in with this Mega Aerodactyl and spam Rock Slide when he could definitely just switch out and have better positioning. But hey, you know, it's definitely a viable strategy and it's working out. So you know, I can't blame my opponent for going for these plays. At least Metagross gets an Iron Head off. That's nice, and it doesn't break my sub. So, oh, that actually is probably in Rock Slide KO range, which is nice. And Terrakion finally attacks, so finally one turn where Rock Slide doesn't flinch either, and it knocks out the Mega Aerodactyl. So that's great. Despite a couple of strange opening turns, I still am up right now 4-3, which is good. So we've seen Meowstic's full moveset as well, Fake Out, Thunder Wave, Charm, and have we seen it? Fake Out, Thunder Wave, Charm. I don't think we've seen the last move actually. I might have just pooped out there. As he's gonna bring in the Sylveon. Okay, I don't mind that one bit. I'm gonna protect here with Metagross, and actually I could just Iron Head Rock Slide here. Iron Head, and yeah, because the thing is, if Meowstic protects and he tries to go for like a Thunder Wave on, I mean, he can't do anything right now actually. So yeah, I'm just gonna Iron Head Rock Slide. That gives me the flinch factor as well, and he's just gonna go for the Thunder Wave onto Terrakion. I don't know, I don't think it's very good to rely on Thunder Wave like this early on in the match, but it's been working out. But the thing is, I don't know, like, Thunder Wave's chance of reducing your opponent to attacking is only 25%, so, like, not panning out for my opponent here as I'm able to get both the Iron Head and Rock Slide off. Let's see if we can knock out the Sylveon. Not gonna knock it out, but I do get a flinch, so kind of making up for the earlier turns. So the Metagross hiding behind his substitute has been really good for me, just because it's not allowed my opponent to really, you know, spam attacks with that Meowstic. So despite being at -2 attack so far, it's working out. And I guess I can see why my opponent didn't want to switch out the Mega Aerodactyl. I guess he just doesn't have any way to deal with Metagross and Terrakion as a combination. So it makes sense that he was going for Rock Slides and Thunder Waves. Definitely makes sense. So I'm just gonna Iron Head the Sylveon again. And I kind of want to switch out Terrakion out to Suicune, just because that way I could actually set up a Tailwind for following turns. And Terrakion at -2 and Paralyzed, you know, not very fun to deal with. So I'm wondering if the Sylveon actually carries Protect. He's going to go straight for the Charm onto the Terrakion slot, so that's obviously not going to do anything. As I'm just going to get an Iron Head and knock out the Sylveon. So, you know, I figured it was going to be Choice Specs, and I knew even if it wasn't, he had no way to knock out the substitute from my Metagross because Meowstic's not a very offensive Pokemon. So I think the biggest issue for my opponent here is that the Meowstic just can't get any damage up, meaning like he has to rely on the other Pokemon to hit Metagross, and it's not like a Mega Aerodactyl and a Sylveon can do very much against a Metagross, especially one behind a substitute. So, you know, despite the flinches earlier on, me getting up the substitute was great. And he is going to have Talonflame as the last one, but obviously I'm very glad to see that given that I've got Suicune, you know, in the match right now. So, I'm going to actually just Zen Headbutt Talonflame and Scald it as well. He might Protect with it and Thunder Wave Suicune, but at this point, like, the main issue is he just has way too many Pokemon to deal with. And this is why I don't like using Prankster users like Meowstic, like Whimsicott, etc. They just can't get very much damage off in general, and it's like you have to rely on your partner basically to attack everything, and at this point I'm just overwhelming my opponent with offense. However, my opponent can still win here on a Zen Headbutt miss or a full Paralysis from this Suicune. I mean, it's a winnable match because Thunder Wave makes anything possible, but I do hit the Zen Headbutt, of course at -2 attack, but I get the Scald off as well, so looks like I'm going to be able to take this match. And the real key was just really playing around the Meowstic, but Metagross getting a substitute was really big because it prevented any Meowstic shenanigans from happening. So despite it being at -2 attack, this Mega Metagross put in so much work. So now the Meowstic obviously can't even do anything. I'm gonna just switch in the Terrakion to get rid of the -2 attack drop, and I'll Scald. I mean, yeah, my opponent's gonna forfeit there, obviously, as Meowstic can't do anything to either of my Pokemon. So I'm gonna end up taking a win here after a couple Rock Slide flinches, but pretty interesting match. You know, I didn't think my opponent actually had Mega Aerodactyl, but turned out it was, so I did call that right in the beginning. And yeah, I think the Terrakion Metagross combo was just too much for my opponent to deal with, so I think today's episode is interesting because in the first game I kind of got demolished by, you know, a core that my opponent had. In the second game, my core was able to really just beat my opponent. So first, huge shout outs to my first opponent, because the max speed Thundurus and the Blaziken was very, very interesting, and I definitely want to try that out in the future. And props to my second opponent too for using Mega Aerodactyl, because I do think he's a Mega with a lot of potential but isn't used as much. So two pretty interesting games for you guys today. Pretty one-sided on both ends, but I definitely liked it. So we're gonna split today's games 1-1. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, leave a like if you did. Keep your eyes open, because the Mega Venusaur team analysis will be up tomorrow, and I should get double uploads up for the next couple of days to make up for the days I missed earlier this week. And yeah, that's it for this one, guys. I'll see you next time. Peace.